Hey everyone, Dr. Frunke here with a knife consult on the Benchmade Bugout. Before I start this video, I think I should make something of a disclaimer that I'm a pretty big fan of relatively heavy knives. These 0392s hover in the 5 to 6 ounce range. I don't usually mind carrying knives in this sort of a weight class. I enjoy a little bit of stability and strength and heft to these knives. But Benchmade has always been on the lighter end of knives, and now they've gone to the absolute extreme here with their new model, the Bugout. This just came out this year. 2017 is a mid-year release, and it's really aiming to, I think, compete with knives a lot more close to, say, the Spyderco Delica or other models similar to this. Lightweight, EDC-style knives. Throw the Ontario Rats in there, throw some of the other ones that we see all the time in there. But just so you know, I don't really need a lightweight carry, so I'm looking at this as sort of from an interesting perspective. As a guy who likes heavier knives, how does this knife sort of affect me, and what are my opinions of this? And this is really only just my opinions, so take that with a grain of salt. So let's go ahead and break this knife down anatomically so we can understand what we're looking at here. Up front, we've got a 3.25-inch blade of CPM S30V steel. Now, this is a nice upgrade that we've seen across the board in Benchmade's lineup this year. They've got a lot of S30V that's been introduced to replace the CPM 154. It's sort of the bottom end of their steel range, and that's a nice upgrade. S30V is an excellent steel. Now, I don't know how well Benchmade treats theirs, but I've never had a problem with any Benchmade steels. They've all been well heat treated and well ground. And speaking of the grind, this is a very high flat grind. It's got a nice swedge up at the front to reduce weight but also maintain strength. So I'll see if I can get this to focus right here. The blade material tapers down nicely at the distal end there, but it does remain quite strong there at the tip for nice stabbing cuts. Now, this blade stock is wonderfully thin. Too many knives these days have honestly gotten into that category of overbuilt and super tough. And this is not really an ideal slicing knife. When you have a blade stock that's that thick, say here we've got a Gavco Trasher, also nice thick blade stock on that one. They don't slice quite as well, or if you have to creatively grind them. This blade stock comes in at 0.09 inches, so very thin relative to a lot of knives out there in today's market. So I really appreciate that, and that goes with the overall motif of lightweight, slim, and carryable. And so I really respect that. It's done in a nice satin grind here. It's a beautiful satin grind. They've got the Benchmade logo on there. Sorry, the camera freaks out with these reflective satin finishes. This one is a first production model with serial number 196. You may recognize this exact knife from the Nick Shabazz videos. He actually sent this knife through me on the way to my good buddy Nico out in Greece. So I've had a chance to carry this and kind of get to know it a little bit. I will say I absolutely love the blade. This is a perfect EDC blade shape. Classic drop point design. Very, very slim stock, like I mentioned. High flat grind allows it to be thin behind the edge. This thing slices beautifully. It's ground pretty well. A lot of Benchmades will come to you with an uneven bevel, sharpening bevel, but this one was done pretty well. I've noticed some wild inconsistencies among Benchmade knives, so if you're able to go to a store and pick one out, maybe go do that. This one was a particularly nice example right here. Deployment is via thumb studs. They are on both sides. I believe these are titanium anodized blue thumb studs, so that's pretty nice. You can get your fingernail underneath it. It will flick open. You can get your thumb on top of it. It will push open. And you can get your finger behind it for the spider flick. So I do really like that. Lots of ways to deploy this. And the retention is relatively light for the finger. It's got that nice axis lock feel. Now, speaking of which, it does have the axis lock. Maybe you've seen me flicking it out really smoothly and then getting it back in the handle. This is not quite as smooth as, say, a full-size Griptilian, but that's because the blade is heavier there. But if you do it, you can do the classic axis lock, flick it out, and then close it back just like that. So really easy to use, ambidextrous lock system. Everyone knows and loves the axis lock system. I like it a lot. It's implemented well on this knife, and Benchmade is doing a good job with that. So it's on phosphor bronze washers. You can see some small washers inside there, but that's in keeping with a lot of the lower end Benchmade knives like the Griptilians and the sort of hard use and everything like that sort of motif. This knife carrying back, we're going to go back to the handles here. So we've got a couple of slabs of what they call grivery. It's basically just a fiberglass reinforced nylon kind of a plastic handle here, and it is very thin. It has these extensive sort of waffle milled holes on the inside, so it lightens it up even more, and it provides it with some functional rigidity. I imagine that those angles provide some strength and bending. Notice though, you can cause these scales to flex a little bit in this dimension, but to be perfectly honest, I really think that this knife is going to be plenty strong. The knife is actually bolstered by some small steel inserts going on there, and that is also how the axis lock is sort of housed. So you can see those in there, and you can see the scales. Now they flex in this position, but there's absolutely no flexion in the actual dimension of cutting. So you're going to be cutting in this dimension, in that direction with that vector, and there's going to be no flex to that knife whatsoever. So I really like that. And you know, this knife, you have to keep in mind, you're only going to be using this knife for the things that you would use this knife for. If you buy this, you're a knife guy, you're going to be using it for the right reasons. You're going to be using it for the light to medium EDC tasks. This will do paper, cardboard, you know, open boxes all day long, cut rope, cut cloth beautifully. And the S30V steel will keep it sharp all day, and it will take a nice edge if you have to sharpen it. I like the handles. They feel good in the hand. They're not too slippery. They've got just enough texturing. There's a little bit of jimping here that you do feel when you're holding the knife like this. There's no real jimping elsewhere on the knife. There's no real hot spots on the handle. It's very thin in the hand, but it fills my very large hand completely. So I like that. I get a full 4-finger grip on it. Very secure in my hand. It is made with 2 blue standoffs. These might be a blue aluminum and secured with some screws. They have integrated the lanyard hole into the back of the knife here very subtly by including it inside of the scales, milled into the scales. I'm not much of a lanyard guy. This is a rather prominent lanyard hole, but to be honest, to me, what it also symbolizes is another area where they could mill out as much plastic as possible in keeping with the ultra lightweight idea of this knife. So I almost see them as speed holes or lightning holes, lightning holes, as opposed to even a lanyard hole. Now let's come back to my absolute favorite part of this knife, and that is the pocket clip. I think Benchmade does an excellent deep carry pocket clip, and this is the junior version of that, and I am in love with this little thing. It is so cool. This is all the clip that you need for a knife like this, and honestly for most of the knives that they make. If this is widely available from Benchmade now, if I had a Benchmade, I'd be calling them right now and saying, can you send me that shorty deep carry clip? That's the coolest thing. I am a big fan of this. I hope to see this on future models, or at least widely available. It is parkerized and not painted, so it's got a little bit more of a durable finish on it. You gotta love that. So how is this knife in everyday carry? It's super easy and lightweight to carry around all day. This thing comes in ultra lightweight. Let me get out my scale here. Get that started up. And that is coming in at 1.86 ounces, just as advertised, so super lightweight. Carries really deep, but it's easy to deploy from the pocket because of the nature of that clip. The action is super smooth. You can do it all day. There's no hot spots. It's comfortable in the hands. I really enjoy that. I'm going to go ahead and pull out some other knives here for a quick comparison. So also in the small knife category, let's go ahead and bring out a small Chris Reeves knife Sebenza. Sorry, I almost coughed there. Apologize. I've got a VDK Faro going on over here. I've got a Kaiser Feist on loan for review right now. So some small knives. I know a lot of people complain about the perspective of my videos. I'm working on getting a new setup so we can have a little bit more of a vertical orientation here. But let's bring out a few more knives. You saw the ZT0392. How about this? Also in from Nick Shabazz. The Z Hunter. Yeah, about the same size as a Z Hunter. You know, that's a widely popular model. Lots of people have it, known for its super high quality and excellent build. So thanks, Nikki, for sending that one along. It's a real gem. So back to this knife. Super comfortable in the hand, super lightweight, a super nice EDC size, and honestly, I don't really have a problem with the plastic build. You have to keep in mind this is built for a very specific target audience. So I think that in their pursuit of creating a very, very lightweight, everyday carry knife that is truly capable, that is truly well made, and at a relatively affordable price. Now, this comes in at $114 from Benchmade. I still think we're paying a little bit of extra money for that butterfly right there, to be perfectly honest. There are a lot of knives that you can get for $100. I'd be tempted to steer people towards the sort of budget Wii models at that price point. For $100, you're getting some pretty nice blades over there, but this one is lighter than those. This is a really nice knife, so I do strongly recommend it. If you're looking for that ultimate lightweight carry, that what am I trying to say? The athletic short carry, this is your knife. Super, super lightweight. Really, really enjoying this. And I just wanted to say thanks to Nick for sending this one along. Thanks to Nico for buying this. Thank you guys for stopping by. Leave some comments down below. What do you guys think of the Benchmade Bugout? Are you going to pick this up? Is this the knife for you this year? I would say this is probably the most compelling, super lightweight carry that I've seen come out this year. Really excited about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Click like and subscribe. Head over to Instagram and follow me over there at Dr. Frunky. And as always, guys, take care.